60 Minutes Rewind.
In the art world, there's perhaps no mystery more enduring than the fate of a lost masterpiece by Leonardo da Vinci, the greatest mind of the Renaissance. It was an immense unfinished mural known as the Battle of Anghiari. For centuries, it's been assumed the work was destroyed, painted over, or simply faded away long ago. Now, after 3 decades of battling skepticism and bureaucratic resistance, an art detective named Maurizio Saracini believes he's close to solving the Leonardo mystery, suggesting the mural hasn't been lost at all, but it's right where it's always been for 500 years.
We're searching for the #1 work of art by Leonardo. It was considered the masterpiece of the Renaissance.
We know roughly what the Battle of Anghiari looked like from fragments of Leonardo's sketches and copies made by his admirers before the mural disappeared. It celebrated a victory by Florence over Milan, a furious tangle of men and horses frozen in the fever of war. The painting was, in its time, the beginning of the 16th century, something to behold.
We have diaries of people coming and seeing and being in admiration of the horses of Leonardo.
They came here to the Palazzo Vecchio, the town hall of Florence. This is ground zero of the Italian Renaissance, the rebirth of ideas and the arts in the 15th and 16th centuries that brought Europe out of the Dark Ages. Here in the shadow of Dante, of Machiavelli, of Leonardo himself, Maurizio Saracini searches for the battle using 21st century technology that can peer through paint, through stone walls, even through history.
You simply have to go beyond what your eyesight can do.
He believes it's on the east wall of the Palazzo in this great hall, the seat of government 5 centuries ago. Saracini works on an enormous scaffold. To drop anything could be disastrous. Standing right below is a priceless statue by Michelangelo. He's convinced Leonardo's Battle of Anghiari lies protected behind this immense painting. It was done by the artist and architect Giorgio Vasari when he remodeled the Palazzo in the mid-16th century, 50 years after Leonardo. The Battle of Anghiari is on another wall, a hidden wall.
Correct. It's in between 2 walls, covered by Vasari, but leaving a small gap.
The gap appeared on one of Saracini's radar scans. You can see it here in red. Of the 6 Vasari murals in this room, only this one has an air pocket behind it.
Why would you have an air gap just there? Other than you don't want to place a wall directly in contact with Leonardo's mural because you don't want to ruin it. You don't want to damage it. He left that air gap enough so that today we can have this masterpiece.
We join Saracini on the scaffold facing the Vasari painting. He must work without even touching it. His equipment works best in the cold, and this night it's near freezing in the huge room. If Saracini is right, the lost Leonardo lies just a few tantalizing inches away, behind Vasari's battle scene, itself 450 years old. It seems in remarkable condition.
Yes, there is dust on it. There is some dirt, but hardly you will see big damages.
Just looks very fresh.
Yes.
And close to the ceiling, Saracini has discovered another tantalizing clue, impossible to see from the floor below. The words, Cerca Trova, painted on a flag. Seek and ye shall find. Was it a message from Vasari to the future?
Is all this a coincidence? Maybe. If it is, it's a very nice coincidence.
Off and on for 30 years, Saracini has prowled this building, trying to sort out what happened to the Leonardo. 500 years ago, the Palazzo attracted the greatest musicians, painters, and sculptors of the age, summoned here by the Medici, rulers of Florence for much of the Renaissance, a family with a ruthless gift for profit and position, and a passion for art.
See up there? That's a soccer game.
So even then, the Italians were going crazy for football.
Yes.
In the map room, the Medici plotted strategy. They prayed in their private chapels. The Palazzo also has its grisly history. The renegade priest Savonarola was jailed in the tower, then publicly burned at the stake in the piazza below. It was in 1504 that the Republican government of Florence commissioned Leonardo to paint the Battle of Anghiari. Leonardo turned up at the Palazzo carrying a small painting he'd been working and reworking. He set it aside and began his preliminary drawings for the battle scene. By the way, that little painting he carried was this one, the Mona Lisa.
Just a little painting.
That damn Mona Lisa, I can't get that smile right.
That's right. But that was him.
Do you ever feel there's a ghost of the master looking over your shoulder?
Well, I don't know if I can say that I felt the presence of Leonardo. What I can say is, it has to be there, right there. We'll find out.
The story will continue after this.
We have to turn off the light.
Serracini's search is the culmination of a career using 21st century technology to unlock ancient history. His tools are lasers, ultrasound, ultraviolet light, heat mapping, things even the genius Leonardo never dreamed of.
We are talking about such an incredible amount of information in such a small thickness of paint.
At the University of California, San Diego, Serracini presides over an extremely high-tech center for diagnosing the health of art treasures, helping to figure out how to restore fragile paintings, even buildings. Here, a tiny fleck of paint can yield answers to who did the work and when. Here, Serracini has mapped out the Palazzo Vecchio in astonishing detail, using images 100 times sharper than any high-definition television.
We have managed to see every single brick, every single stone that is there, as never done before.
He studied here in San Diego himself 35 years ago, planning a career in medical technology. How did you get from wanting to cure patients to wanting to cure paintings?
That's right. Well, it looks like a big jump, a big leap, but it's very straightforward. I wanted to put together art and science.
And art was in his blood. Serracini was born in Florence, where for 6 centuries children have grown up among the world's most treasured objects, where, upon his return from school in California, a friend asked him a fateful question.
Don't you have any technology that could tell us if there is something left of the Battle of Anghiari?
So 30 years ago, a young Maurizio Serracini set out to convince the art world that with his equipment, he might find Anghiari somewhere in the Palazzo Vecchio. Experts were skeptical. After 2 years, Serracini hit a dead end.
In 1977, I had to quit because there was no technology good enough to solve the research, the mystery.
But over the years, technology improved, and Serracini built a solid reputation as an international art detective, an art doctor. He stunned historians with his work on another unfinished Leonardo, The Adoration of the Magi. Serracini revealed that the brown haze on the painting had been added later by someone else. Shall we enter?
Sure.
Even more breathtaking was his ability, without even touching the painting, to reveal Leonardo's underdrawing, his very first ideas.
And we see the wonderful creation of Leonardo as he intended to leave us.
His computers in San Diego allow us to walk into the painting, taking us beneath the surface, revealing a world of detail obscured for 5 centuries, including a frenzied battle scene similar to Anghiari and a masterful sea of faces. No one drew faces like Leonardo.
The whole scene becomes alive.
Huge crowd.
And everyone is a masterpiece on its own. It's speaking, it's looking, it's showing feelings.
He has done remarkable work this way. His imaging techniques with infrared reflectography are really, really fantastic resources for art historians.
Carmen Baumbach is the Leonardo expert at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, who finds it somehow fitting that science is filling in some of the blanks in our understanding of the artist. After all, Leonardo's notebooks are full of his own visionary scientific thoughts, from machines of war to flying machines, sketched in the 1490s, 4 centuries before the Wright brothers.
Leonardo says the painter must be universal. O pittore siete universale. The painter has to know anatomy, the painter has to know all the theories of motion, statics, mechanics, mathematics.
And so too does the art detective. Night after night, after the tourists leave, Saracini returns to the Palazzo Vecchio to better understand the composition of the hidden wall where the Battle of Anghiari might be. He measures, this night, the heat given off by the bricks and stones inside.
The bigger the difference is between the body emitting heat and the room, the better you will see the image.
Which is why if I stand in front of this camera,
You are very hot
he goes about his business literally an inch at a time.
because this is the lifetime chance, which I've been waiting more than half of my life.
Back in San Diego, Saracini's measurements from Florence are stitched together. The flood of data represents every substance that might be hiding Leonardo's painting. By eliminating them, Saracini should be left with a dim representation of what lies beneath in the Palazzo Vecchio.
After 32 years, finally, you will come to the final conclusion of the mystery because you will be able to prove that Leonardo is there.
Or not.
Or not. But it will be a definite answer.
He is about to enter the home stretch, a precious cargo of bricks stored away during renovations of the Palazzo arrives in San Diego. They'll be painted with the same pigments we know that Leonardo favored, and then used to calibrate newer, more powerful instruments. And with luck, by year's end, Maurizio Saracini will know the outcome of his 30-year quest. Do you ever contemplate the possibility of failure?
I accept it only if failure means that for some reason it was destroyed. But that is not there, has never been there. No, that I don't contemplate.
Saracini believes if the lost Leonardo is there, the Vasari could be removed intact, bringing the Battle of Anghiari into the light. Short of that, even a remnant of the painting would count to many as a marvel. In the end, if the imaging techniques provide us with a glimpse, at least,
It'll be the glimpse of genius, and I think everyone will probably weep.